These are the recovered pieces of a missile fired by Houthi militants from Yemen into Saudi Arabia. The missile's intended target was the civilian airport in Riyadh.
At no time was I told that analysts from the Defense Intelligence Agency were able to actually inspect any of the locations. Nobody said that they went to Yemen, to the places where the anti-tank guided missile or the drone were recovered. They did not inspect the impact crater at the King Khalid International Airport. The answers I got like that just seemed to have no information behind them, the more skeptical I became, and the more insistent I was in asking even more questions, because one thing I noticed was that some information was conspicuous by its absence. And so I started asking questions. I started asking each of these analysts very directly, where were they found? Do you have a latitude and longitude? And the answer was always no. I say, okay, well, do you know when it was used? And the answer was no. I say, well, where do you get your information from? They said, from the Saudis. And so that was basically a constant refrain. The reason I'm asking those questions is that they go to the heart of the government's claim that Iran was violating sanctions and violating United Nations resolutions. Absolutely nobody has any doubt that Iran has provided weapons to Houthis in Yemen. What the United States is arguing is, did Iran violate certain sanctions and certain UN resolutions? And those have a time component to them. So what I want to figure out is, were the arms transferred before those resolutions and sanctions went into place, or did they happen after? Because if it happened before, then there's really no violation. It's simply just more evidence of what's already known, and that being that Iran has supplied these weapons to Houthis. For instance, when I was looking at the UAV, an analyst explained to me all the different ways it could be configured. And so then I just asked a simple question. I said, okay, well, what about this one, the one you're showing me? How is it configured? There's kind of a pause. I said, well, we don't know. I said, well, okay, did it have a warhead? Was, an explosive warhead? And they said, we don't know. They said, this is just the way the Saudis handed it to us. I said, so you don't know anything else about this? You don't know where they found it, when they found it? And they said, no. At multiple places, there were little placards that just said simply, on loan from Saudi Arabia. So I imagine at some point they're going to go back. I began to have less and less and less confidence that there was really anything here that was news.